We got a dispatch for a building fire, and when we arrived on the scene, we discovered that it was actually an auto burning. Once we got the fire under control, we discovered that there was a body in the car.
Detectives began to investigate the crime scene. They identified the car as being a Ford Taurus X. Had license plates from Louisiana. Everything inside was burnt. The body was burnt down to the skeleton remains, slumped from like the driver's seat to the passenger seat. So EMT arrived to try to remove the body, but it's pretty much stuck to the seats. So they had to call in the fire department, and they was able to remove the body from the burnt vehicle. So they traced the license plates to a female in Covington, Louisiana, which is about an hour away from New Orleans. So she says that Kim had her vehicle, and she was asking, was the vehicle okay?
You don't want to ask about your loved one there? She needs a visit.
I'll come with you. Yeah, let's do it.
Main concern seemed to be the quality and condition of her car. It's not sitting well with me.
So they make it to Covington to visit Kim's girlfriend. She states that Kim borrowed her car that evening, going to a convenience store. She also states that the convenience store is in Hammond, and round the corner is an apartment complex that Kim's buy marijuana from. So they stop at the convenience store. Detectives take a photo in there. Guys say they do know Kim, but she wasn't there yesterday. So her girlfriend also mentioned that Kim had got into it with her ex-girlfriend, new boyfriend named Juan, and she was so afraid of Juan that she bought a 40 cab. So they pay a visit to the ex-girlfriend. She said she had spoke to Kim, was waiting on her. She was supposed to help put some tires on her car. She never showed up. So she tell them where Juan was at his grandma's house, last she knew. They get in touch with Juan, talk to him, determine the ex or Juan had nothing to do with it.
What happened with the incident with Juan and Kim exchange?
I have no idea. I wasn't there. He just called and said, man, Kim called the police on me. I said, for what? He said, because I said something to her at the store.
So the autopsy report come back. They figure out that Kim was shot in the chest. Found a 9mm bullet attached to the body when they lifted it from the burnt car. She had no soot in her lungs, which means she was dead before they burnt the vehicle. So they called the ATF in to search the vehicle. They found a 40 cal under the seat, which was the gun that Kim purchased. Also found 40 cal shell casings, which blew up from the heat of the fire. So then Kim's cell phone records come back. They trace a number that she had back and forth contact with. Turns out to be the guy that she buys weed from. He comes down to the station. Say the last time he talked to her, she said she was like 8 minutes away. He called, she never answered. He just assumed she picked it up from somebody else in that area. So they asked him, do he know of anyone else that sell marijuana in that area? He mentioned a guy named Rollo. He doesn't know his real name. All he knew was a guy named Rollo.
You know anybody from the Desire neighborhood?
No, sir.
What about New Orleans, general? Anybody in your neighborhood that you met that's in the weed game, whatever, say they're from the city?
Yeah, they got a little dude, Rollo.
So they released the dealer, and a detective called, say he just met up with a confidential informant of his who said that he overheard the dealer saying him and Rollo was having a phone conversation, and Rollo stated that he just killed her. Killed Kim. And that the dealer was stating that that was messed up because he was the one hooked her up with Rollo. He told Kim to go see Rollo, and Rollo would take care of her. So it turned out that Rollo was going to jack her because he owed the dealer money, and that's how he was going to pay him back. So they called the dealer back in. This time he confesses, says that it was set up to be Rollo was going to jack her for the money, and then he would spend the money with him buying heroin. So they find out Rollo's real name. It was Christopher Issa Nichols. So they didn't have enough to bring him in on a murder warrant of what the dealer said, but he did have multiple warrants out for his arrest. So they picked Rollo up on those warrants, talked to him about the murder. He refused to say anything. Asked for a lawyer to be present. So they booked Rollo on the warrants. And a month later, they had put together enough evidence where they charged him with second-degree murder. He was ultimately convicted of manslaughter and was sentenced to 30 years. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button for me. Stay safe out there. I'm done talking.
I spilled the beans. She told me she was cashing a $300 check and she wanted to buy some weed. He was like, man, you need to check that bitch. He said it on the robber when she called.
How much were you gonna get?
He probably would have supported with me.
Buying.
No.
Okay.